What's going on, Jerome's? Your Minnesota Vikings and general manager Kwesi adofo-mensah have many major decisions to make very soon about the extensions for Justin Jefferson, TJ Hockenson, Danielle Hunter, and eventually, potentially, Kirk Cousins, as well as Christian Darrisaw when he's eligible next offseason. So, question is, you want to keep them, obviously, but how much is it going to cost? And is the juice going to be worth the squeeze? So we want to run through our friends over at Spotrac have estimated market values on most of these players, or we found equivalents. So I wanted to walk through how much it potentially is going to cost for these guys. So number one, Justin Jefferson. Calculated market value of $28.7 million. I think that's certainly low, but they estimate it at 3 years, $86 million and change, averaging $27.2 million, which would put him number two in terms of wide receiver pay, and that would put him behind Tyreek Hill. So I'm not buying it, even though Jefferson doesn't seem like he's all about the money. I think 100% he's going to be the highest paid receiver in NFL history when it comes down to it. Also, I love that the idea of him having a 3-year deal where he would hit free agency again in under 5 years. So I think that would be a smart way to keep him always at the top tier of paid receivers, because you see it's too often where a player will sign a deal that's too long, and at the back end of the contract run out of guaranteed money, as well as the salaries are generally below market rate, and the team has all the controls. So I think Jefferson signing a shortest extension, remember he does have the 5th-year option for 2024, would make sense in this spot, but he's at minimum getting way over $30 million per year. With Hockenson, so Hockenson's an interesting case because I think the Vikings, it would behoove them to extend him now, because I think everything is set up for him to have a tight end one season this year, both given the offense as well as the presence of Jefferson, as well as Josh Oliver taking some of the dirty work off his plate. And Hockenson, he's going to be 26 coming up, but Spotrac estimates his market value at 4 years, $57.7 million, average salary of $14.4 million, which would put him as the third highest paid tight end in the league, behind Travis Kelce as well as George Kittle. I think that would be a steal at this point. I think if they let it ride, because he's currently on his 5th-year option and he has a tight end one season, this could cost him $15-16 million per year, and would make him tight end one in terms of pay next offseason if they waited. And then you get to Danielle Hunter. So Hunter is in the final year of his deal, due to make $4.9 million this year. It would make sense for them to either freshen up his deal or give him a long-term extension. And Spotrac didn't have a market value estimate for Danielle, but we went off of Brian Burns in terms of having a comp. Now, Danielle is 3 years older than Brian Burns at this stage, but in terms of production, fairly comparable, especially Danielle's proving that he can stay healthy and that herniated disc is not an issue. But with Burns, 4 years, $73.36 million, average salary of $13.3, which would put him as edge rusher number 5 in terms of rank of pay. I think that's pretty fair for Danielle Hunter at this stage, and also with the top tier edge rushers like Garrett and Bosa getting $25 million per season, I think that getting Danielle at 18 per for the next couple of years would make a ton of sense and would work out for both sides. Then you get to Kirk, JEROME, Ezekiel Cousins, where Kirk has been famoso for getting the Vikings for significant contracts. First time was a 3-year, $84 million deal, fully guaranteed. 2 extensions after that. But Kirk, if he continues to play at a high level, if he cuts and pastes what he did last year, despite being under duress, he would deserve to be amongst the top paid quarterbacks. I think that's what they're looking at. So a 2-year extension at $86.46 million, averaging $43.2 million per, which would put him as a 6th ranked quarterback in the league. Now, you could butt up into things where you're paying Cousins, you're paying Jefferson, you're potentially paying Hockenson, and also you're potentially paying Danielle Hunter as well. Eventually, even though the cap is a myth, that's a lot of premium contracts that you're doling out. But Kirk, this is the danger of letting it ride, where Kirk is in the final year of his deal. The Vikings cannot franchise tag him because of the contract voids after the window to franchise tag players. So this is the danger of rolling the dice, because if Kirk has another amazing year and the Vikings get things done this year, Kirk would be entitled to a large contract. I don't think that the Vikings would be so much about moving on. So it's going to cost them, and that's the gamble that they're taking at this point. And then you got Christian Darrisaw, who flying under the radar. Now, Darrisaw has shown flashes. I think that he will put it together and become one of the best young left tackles in the game, and I think that he is going to get paid thusly. But Spotrac doesn't have an estimate for him, but a player of a similar caliber who is eligible for an extension is Andrew Thomas, and they estimate him at 5 years, $107 million, averaging $21.4 million per, which would put him at offensive tackle number 4. Even though it would be a year down the line of the Vikings extending Christian Darrisaw, so bump this up a little bit. I think this is the framework of a very similar deal of something that Darrisaw is going to be offered. So I think that you're looking at the extensions, man. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And also, you do have to enhance Jefferson's, because I think that he is going to be the number one paid receiver in NFL history very easily. But, I mean, this is some top-tier contracts for some solid players. But Hockenson, vaulting in the top 3 in terms of tight end pay. Danielle will be up there 5-6. Kirk Cousins will be up there at 6. Christian Darrisaw would be, top 5 in terms of offensive tackle pay. And the thing is, most of these guys play premium positions. Kirk quarterback, obviously. Darrisaw left tackle. It's a passer. Get the passer and stop the guy who's trying to get the passer type league. Of course, Jefferson is Jefferson. So, I mean, it may be tough. They may have to shuffle things around. You may have to get very creative with the cap, but that's fine because the Vikings can do that because just had to sneak that in. Man. But that's it. Let's take a look at Vikings extension estimates. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.